Hey guys, what is up? Shum Advice back with a quick little advice video. I'm doing this right after my update, so yeah, that's why my hair still looks freaking crazy. So, I just want to do a little advice video. I got asked to do this by a couple of people. This is advice for both new and old players to the game. This is not meant to be something that's just brand new for no one who's ever played the game before, or who has been playing this game since the day it came out. I've played since about 2 months after it came out, but anyway, so first of all, I'm going to dive right in and say buying renewal kits. This is how you're supposed to do it the right way. Here's how actually first I'm going to say here's how next time I expect you to do it. You want to renew one weapon, and you buy a ton of renewal kits. You buy 50, and you go crazy, and you renew it for a long time. Or you could have what happens more often than not. Oh, you got it for permanent on the second renewal kit, and now you have 48 renewal kits sitting around, and you have no weapons to renew. Now, while that may be well and good that you have a ton of renewal kits that could be used at any time, like let's say you get a one-day weapon, that's cool. Yes, that's nice, but there's a better way to go about it. Buy 15 renewal kits, or the maximum that you feel comfortable, 7, 15, or if there's a sale going on, buy them a certain number at a time, and use them, and if you get like 45 days, 60 days, or 90 days, or permanent obviously, don't use any more renewal kits on that weapon. Save your renewal kits, because you have now, let's say you get 45 days, you now have 45 days to buy more renewal kits, or to use ones that you already have to extend it for longer. But let's say you renew it for 300 days and then they nerf the weapon, or they do something you don't like to it, you get bored of it, well, you just wasted a ton of renewal kits. While it may still be a fine weapon, it may not be one that you want to use anymore. And even if you go with this, let's say on the third time you get 90 days and you bought 15 renewal kits. Well, guess what? You got 12 more renewal kits sitting there, so if they release a Black Magnum for one day, or you get your hands on something, you can use a renewal kit, get 1 or 2 more days on it, and then you can go and buy some more renewal kits if you have time to do that. So it's all about saving your time and money. It saves you a lot. And also, so let's say you just want to renew this one weapon for a decent amount of time, or let's say you actually get a weapon for permanent. So let's say 15 renewal kits, you get something permanent. Well, you have ones left, you have NX left over that you could use to spend on something else. Get a name color, a clan color, something. Anyway, that's the whole point of that. Be wise about spending money on your renewal kits. That's very important. Same with cases, actually. If you're just looking for one weapon, don't buy a shit ton of cases at once. Buy them in a certain increment, and then keep buying them in that increment so you can actually, get the weapon you want and still have NX left over. Next is about quick scoping. This is kind of a noobish thing to say, but a lot of really good quick scoping guns, the Tango, the M24A3 Woodland, and those kind of one-shot kill, high accuracy, super fast spread recovery guns. The TPG, TRG are good examples. The M200 is a decent example, but I would say before you start using those kind of weapons, practice with the M200, the GP variant, or the L9, or some lower accuracy weapon before just diving in and buying like the Arctic Wolf or something, because chances are, if you can't be super skilled with one of those weapons, you are not going to be very good with the Tango or M24. And while those are a little bit more noob-friendly, you could say, let's put it this way, if you can do well with the L9 or do well with one of those, you can do very well, 10 times as well, with a Tango or another gun. So I would say practice with the L9, and then go to using the Tango or whatever. Next is don't customize your recoil. And by the way, I'm reading my notes up there if you guys keep wondering why I look up. Don't customize recoil in the Gun Emporium until you've played with the higher fire rate and higher damage. Customize the damage and fire rate always. I don't see any reason why you would not want to do that. Obviously, yes, higher fire rate will make your spread jump up faster because you're getting more shots out in this certain increment of time. But the point is, you should always want to increase the fire rate and damage. Always do that. I can't think of a single gun where you wouldn't want to do that. But don't customize the accuracy and recoil yet. In fact, most guns I would say leave it without. There aren't many guns I would want to increase the recoil and accuracy on. The M14 is kind of unique. For an assault rifle anyway, I would want to increase the accuracy on that for obvious reasons, but it's meant to be more of a battle rifle than an assault rifle. So the whole point is try it without the customization. If the recoil you find is super crazy low, and you think that little bit of extra accuracy would be more useful, especially if it's a higher accuracy weapon, then yeah, go for it. Go for it and do that customization. You will probably not regret it. But if you're happy with the recoil, as it is with the higher fire rate and lower and higher damage, leave it. Don't worry about it. In fact, most weapons, I don't even customize the accuracy and recoil, like I said. Next is about suppressors. Don't put an S1 suppressor on a weapon that you use the scope on a lot. Use an S3 suppressor, because the S3 suppressor is going to reduce the flash, which is most useful in quarantine, and it's good for not getting people to notice you, especially in maps like Kill Creek where you see through the trees easily. Just use an S3. An S1 is great for SMGs because a lot of SMGs don't require a scope or aren't really useful with a scope. So if you put an S1 on it, it's going to lower your spread outside of the scope. But if you go in scope, a lot of you guys experiment with the SG556 or the AK-47. If you put an S1 suppressor on that and spray in scope, the spread actually gets worse because the pattern changes. Yes, the overall recoil, the amount of movement per shot is less, but the actual pattern changes, so it's even more difficult to control. It's not what you're expecting, and in some cases the recoil gets worse. I find that to be very much true of the AK-47 series, even more so of the G36 series. It screws over the tap firing ability of the G36, and the C and the KE and all those other variants. It screws it over. So practice with an S3. Next thing is S2 suppressors are useless except on certain snipers that are not one-shot kills, like the M24, where you want to get your shot off, make it quiet, not worry about the damage because it's already not going to be a one-shot kill, but you don't want to let people notice your tracer. The M24 is the best way to do that, but usually if it's a one-shot kill, that S1 suppressor is still going to keep it as a one-shot kill. The L9 is a great example. You put an S1 suppressor on the L9, you're still going to pretty much be getting one-shot kills. Finally, don't practice hard scoping at longer, well, not really finally, but don't practice hard scoping at long ranges. Try on Gravedigger or short fuse in the building. If you go in the building and short fuse, and you stay in the office and you practice hard scoping through the windows in that office, that's a great way to practice hard scoping. Gravedigger is another excellent way if you go into an Elim game and go down below. That should train you pretty well for Clan Wars, I would be willing to say. Finally, always use weapons with integrated silencers in Clan Wars. This is concluding the little Clan Wars portion here. But always use weapons with integrated silencers because then you don't lose the damage that the gun actually has. The stat that it has is what it actually is. That's not going to change. But one thing that's very, very important is that it also keeps it quiet. The quiet part is very important in the Clan War. The big part about Clan Wars is that people will gangbang other people, they will team up, and if you can kill someone from behind or even from the front with a silencer, you're not going to alert every other player in the room. You're not going to alert every single player in the game, which is very useful. I find that very particularly useful on sniper rifles. L9s are great to put S1 suppressors on. Next, we're going to see, try using extended magazine 1s instead of 2s for a couple of reasons. For most guns that don't have a 35 of 105, I believe, ammo capacity, you're going to be getting the same amount of ammo per shot, per magazine. For an assault rifle, I believe you get 10 extra shots per magazine, so you're going 40 of 80, I do believe, which means you're going to have 3 40-shot magazines, but you're only getting that 10% reload decrease instead of the 20%. The extra 10% per that extra 5 shots is not worth it in my opinion. Maybe on some SMGs, like the UMP where you can get a total of 50 shots, but for the most part I would recommend not doing that. If you really need one, go for the extended magazine 1, but use quick loader magazines on machine guns and some shotguns. The M4 Super 9E, that's kind of up to you, but as far as things like the Keltec, if you can, I don't know if you can equip a extended magazine to the Keltec, but if you could, I would say a quick loader would be a very good idea for that because there's a huge magazine. The Remington in those series, the R870 series, would be a great shotgun to have quick loader magazines on because they are very slow reload and they're very high damage. Usually getting your first 2 or 3 shots is all you really need. You don't need a whole ton of shots, and I believe you'd still be left with 4 or 5 shots per mag, so that would be fine, to be honest. So yeah. Also, I'm going to say don't buy the Arctic Wolf. It's not that good. It's really not. Yes, it's overused. Yes, it's actually quite a skillful weapon. And if you're really looking for a challenge, just take the regular L9. It even shows more skill than the Arctic Wolf, especially if you have the S1 suppressor on it. It looks really nice, but you basically got the same weapon, just not quite as consistent of a one-shot kill, because obviously the suppressor lowers the damage. But if you really want a similar gun that just absolutely rock socks like the Arctic Wolf, get the M200 Gillet or the DSR-1 Subsonic. Yes, they're not quite as portable, and the M200 Gillet has kind of a long draw speed, but the actual performance of the gun is actually better in my opinion. And also it has that higher magnification scope with overall higher accuracy, but if you're looking for that weapon that has the silencer, that is consistently a one-shot kill, that actually has some degree of accuracy for a sniper rifle at longer ranges, the M200 and the DSR Subsonic are excellent weapons. And on top of that, the camo on the Gillet is actually useful. There are, 2 maps that have snow, I think? Cold Seed and Snow Valley, so that's not very useful. But if you're still adamant about getting the Arctic Wolf, try the L9 with an S1 suppressor first, be very proficient with it before you get it, and be very sure that you want to get it. If you are a Colonel 2 or above, I do believe it's Colonel 2, don't even bother buying it because the Gillet, the L9 Gillet, not only has a better camo for most maps, it can be customized and therefore has higher accuracy and is actually better than the Arctic Wolf. That's one thing I want to be getting into later, actually right now. some higher ranked GP weapons are actually better than their NX standard parts. Now this really only applies to a lot of higher ranks in the game, and therefore most of you probably already know this if this applies to you, but the M107 Air Force, the M416 Camo Customized, the L9 Gile, guns like these are actually better. The M417 CQB is better than the M417 Combat. Just these kind of things make it better. They're higher ranked things, but if you get them out of Miss G's or things like that, obviously that's a great idea. The USP Tactical is better in my opinion than the USP SE, although that's kind of obvious. It's a USP, high damage, super high, not, well, no recoil, no damage drop off practically. It's just a great pistol all around. Obviously it's not as good as the USP Tactical SE, but you know, the whole point is it's better than the USP SE in my opinion. Also it has that silencer, I think it's an S2 or S1, I think it's an S2. But yeah, so next, figure out one type of each kind of main weapon. When I say main weapon, that's sniper rifle, assault rifle, and SMG. Figure out one of each of those that you're proficient with, and just use those for all of your competitive gameplays. I mean, obviously it's okay to use different weapons to screw around once in a while, but in competitive gameplay, just be proficient with a few weapons. I would suggest, for sniper rifles, the TPG, the G36E is a great assault rifle, and for the original SMGs, I'd say pick one of the big three. The PP-19, the P90, or the UMP. The P90 and the UMP are more used than the PP-19, but the PP-19 is still an excellent weapon. I would still highly suggest using it, especially if you're Modern Warfare 3 players. It's basically the PP-90, it's the same weapon. Slightly higher recoil though, slightly being a lot more recoil, but still. Next thing is the Super Magnum is better than the Black Magnum. Yes, it is. It has faster spread recovery and smaller spread overall. It is better. It is a more consistent one-shot kill. For all of you who say the Black Magnum is better, no it's not. I have the Black Magnum for permanent. I have the Super Magnum for I think close to 170 days. I've been using both extensively. The Super Magnum is better. Everything else about the two guns is pretty much the same though. Statistically they're the same. Aesthetically they're different obviously, but yeah, you can't put silencers on either of them, which I think kind of sucks, but whole point is the Super is better. If you're going for one, go for the Super. Next, the WA 2000 Tactical is easily on par with NX Rare weapons. It is basically an NX Rare. It is so powerful, it's a very consistent one-shot kill. Fast fire rate for a one-shot kill sniper. It's better than the M107 in my opinion. I like the scope that it has on it for long ranges. It is super accurate, pretty fast reload. The spread recovery is relatively fast, and in general it's just a great weapon. The draw speed is pretty fast for a semi-automatic sniper as well. So if you guys have access and you don't have the WA 2000 Tactical, I highly suggest trying it out. Really, really gotta say that. Next is try to discover spots on maps where you can hop around corners. Now, a lot of you guys don't understand what I mean by this. It's kind of confusing, but a good example is the outside of Bravo base on Oil Rig. If you guys remember on Oil Rig, like let's say this is your spawn, and then you can go out this way, and then you can like go back into your base this way, and then you can go out and go across the bridge right here. Well, there's a wall right here. You can actually get on this rim, and if you have speed gear, I think you need at least a light vest and a backpack that doesn't hinder your speed, you can actually jump around this wall here. You can go all the way around the wall and land on the other side and then get away off here. That's a great way to get away in a 1v1 situation. I use that tactic a lot. You can see it in several of my videos. Just look for my Oil Rig videos. As long as I'm spawning on the Bravo side, the chances that you'll see me do that at least once or twice are pretty high. So that's one of my favorite tricks. You can also do it in the Alpha base. On the opposite side, after you cross the bridge, there's the like wall that's shaped like this. You can drop down from the top, from the like little walkway up here. You can drop down, and then if you're in that little outer area where you snipe from into the Bravo base, you can actually jump from the top of that around. You see Arctic Drop Shot do that a lot. That's one of his favorite tricks. I learned that from him, although I don't use it very often. Yeah. The last two things I like to say are actually clan war oriented. First of all, make 3 strategies for every map. Personal strategies, not team strategies. Definitely have an idea that you can use for everything. It's okay if you lose the first 1 or 2 rounds of a clan war. As long as you have a strategy and you can read the enemy's movements, that's the important part. Playing smart is better than playing strong. You don't have to be the best player, you just need to be the smartest. That's how you're going to win more often than not. And the final thing I want to say before I conclude is play SND like Elin Pro. Don't play it like you're going for the objective. This may sound incredibly stupid, and it doesn't apply to all scenarios. It doesn't apply obviously when you need to plant to win or need to defuse to win. But for the most part, especially during the early part of the game, play it like Elin Pro. Ignore the objectives entirely. Don't even try to defend them. Go after the enemy and spend your time gangbanging. If it's a 4v4 situation, go in groups of 2. Very important. Have one person with an SMG try to rush in and have one person stay back with a G36E or something that can fire fast. Not a sniper unless they're a particularly good hard scoper, because most of the time, actually, well, you know, clan wars have the friendly fire on, and if you're out in front of them, that poses a danger both ways. So usually G36 is the better way to go. So I highly suggest you guys do that. Very important. Play S&D like Elan Pro. Capture the flag. I typically play defensively, but that's just your own strategy. I can't really teach you how to play that, but I can't stress it enough. Play S&D like Elan Pro. That's about all the time I really have for today, guys. Just want to say thank you for watching these. Couple of other reminders real fast. I do have the 500 sub special event coming out soon. Definitely check that out. Once I get to 500 subs, that's going to be coming out. It's actually not really an event. It's something that's kind of special. I'm not going to let you guys know until later, but you guys should love it. There's a reason I'm waiting for 500 subs, and I will wait. Like, not just for that. I mean, yeah, it's a landmark again. And yes, it's the second time I'm hitting it. But the whole point is, I have a reason for that, and I will explain that when it comes out. Finally, check out the Facebook group down below, and also I want to remind you guys, be sure to watch older videos. Just because they're older doesn't mean they're less entertaining. They're all in the past 4 months anyway, so I hope you guys should be able to watch them. They should all be relevant, and I will see you guys in the next video. Shadowlands out.